Good afternoon, fellow art designers. Today I am going to cover our boxing poster and the importance of it being outlined with a pen, particularly an ink pen that is black or maybe even a Sharpie fine tip to help our images jump out a little more. Now today here is my example of Mr. Deadpool here and Brand Walsh. This is, as you know, Thor in the Marvel movies, but he played back in an 80s movie as this bully. So this is who he's dressed up as. I give credit to my husband this time around. He created this poster for this class. So you are able to see what a true boxing poster looks like. As you can see at the very top, we have the name of our boxing fight here. We have Clash of the Titans. So that is the title of this poster. At the bottom here, you're going to notice that we have Deadpool's name, so we know who the fighter is. We also have Brand Walsh right here, both of their names here. On the bottom here, underneath Mr. Deadpool, we have the champion, and then on the other side, we have the challenger. Notice that on this poster, we also have a date. So as I scooch this up, our date is a little harder to see because it has been done in pencil. Not everything has been traced around with my pen quite yet, but I have the date to be July 12th, 2020. So the date has already passed, yes, but it is an important date to my husband. That is the day our daughter was born. 2020 is just the present day time. So you can pick whatever date you want to, whether it be your birthday or a parent's birthday, pet's birthday, or something that means something to you. You can pick a date or you can choose something random. It doesn't really matter. But as you can tell here, my husband has used a couple of different fonts here to create the Deadpool name as well as Brando Walsh. And he's also used a nice thick font up here with plenty of kerning, so plenty of spacing in between the letters so we can tell what the title is. Now, the importance of outlining our characters is because when we go in with colored pencil, we want to make sure that our lines are clean, and when we color things in, it is clear to see what is going on. So for me, since my husband has used a very fine tip pen, I'm going to go ahead and use my pen here. And after you've drawn your stuff out lightly with a pencil, you're going to go in and start slowly tracing your work. So if you have anything that looks like a sketch or your lines are a little messy, make sure to erase those before you trace around your artwork. Tracing does take a little bit of time just because you don't want to mess up. Once you mess up, either work with what you just had done or start over. But I wouldn't want to start over if I made a tiny mistake. I would just kind of go with it and see what I can do from there. So I've traced out my A. You can see how vastly different, how big of a difference it makes to really trace these letters out with a Sharpie fine tip or a black ballpoint pen. Between the C and the L, you can tell that one of them has been done in pen and one of them in pencil. So I'm going to go in and trace this C very carefully, of course, and just try to get around it as best as possible. Again, taking your time. If you have straight lines in your design, you can use a ruler to keep your lines nice and clean. And you're going to do this for most of your design. Now I'm going to finish out this S so you can see the vast difference here as we move along our design. So as you can tell, this already stands out quite a bit from the H on Clash and of the Titans, right? So again, very important to outline and take your time with this. Once you have outlined everything that is important to you, which includes your font and your characters, you're going to go in with an eraser, and if you have extra pencil lines, you're going to go in and make sure the ink is dry before you do this after you've traced. That is very important. Otherwise, you're going to have some terrible smears. So really, you might want to give it about 10-15 minutes for that ink to dry before you do this. But you're going to go in and you're going to erase those extra lines. So I'll bring this up closer to you. You can tell in some of these areas that there is pencil right up in here and in the backpack. So I'm just going to go in and simply, erase this extra junk before I start adding color with my colored pencils. If you have an extra big eraser, that's probably most helpful as well, just because you don't want to waste the small portion of your eraser there. But already note how neat this looks after erasing those extra lines. Now you don't have those sketchy lines, you have nice clean lines to color inside of as we move along into color. So again, just make sure you're using a dark pen. I would use black. You can also use a Sharpie fine tip pen. You don't want to use anything too thick, otherwise you're going to end up losing details, especially if you've made people. You can end up losing their eyes and they can look a little blobby, so be careful with that. Take your time, right? You can't erase pen, but you can erase pencil. So take your time as you're tracing over. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out to me by email. I try to do my best to respond as quickly as possible. But again, this is what we're doing once we have our characters situated in that boxing poster. Well, that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful time creating. Have a happy arting time.